right, we are live. How's everybody doing? I hope that you're doing well. Listen, I need you guys to please like and share and comment. And welcome to the show. Welcome to Better Podcast with yours truly, DMP Speaks. Now, if you don't know who I am and this is your first time, let me introduce myself. My name is David M. Pinkston, but I go by the name of DMP Speaks. I'm an empowerment speaker. I'm a board certified Christian counselor, but I'm also a family specialist, restoration specialist. So I come in and I do everything that I can to restore and rebuild your family dynamic. But tonight, in celebration of Women's History Month, I have another exciting and dynamic person that I feel that is going to be able to give you some great information, to give you some great insight. And her name is Coach Michele D. Clark. You can't forget D. It's Michele D. Clark. She's a wonderful, wonderful person. I've been knowing her not too long, but we definitely have connected. And I mean, this lady is electric. And I'm not just saying it just to say it. You got to just pay attention to her and what she does. But I'll let her introduce herself. But she's going to just give us some insight. I'm going to be able to ask her some questions, but it's going to be a great conversation. And I need you guys to do me a favor. Please share this on your page. Share. I'm telling you, share it with your mama, share it with your cousin, share it with your friends, your sister girls, everybody. Because if you're looking to be a professional, if you're looking to be a professional woman, because that's what we're talking about, professional woman that can do it all. Because not only is she a professional woman, but she is a mom and she's a trendsetter. But let me stop talking. Let me introduce to you all Coach Michele D. Clark. What's going on, my friend?
How you doing, sir? I am super fantastic. Thank you so much, David, for having me on the show. I really appreciate you.
Yes. So we're going to jump into it because of the time. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your business. The floor is yours. Go ahead, sis. Do your
Absolutely. Thank you so much. First of all, everybody out there, welcome to the show. And thank you all for tuning in because you could have chosen to be any place else. And we appreciate you for being here tonight with Mr. Pinkston and the Better Podcast. So, my name is Michele D. Clark. And yes, you have to put the D in there and Michele with one L because you don't need two when one does the same. And, I'm just a small town girl with big time dreams who God has definitely shown his grace and his mercy. And he has saved me from some life threatening things. And when I talk about small town, I'm talking about Harvey. Most folks, David, they don't even know where that is, but it's near the south side of Chicago. And if anybody knows anything about Chicago, back in the day when I was growing up, people were thugging and drugging and stealing and killing, doing all sorts of things. But instead of doing that, because of, fortunately, the way my foundation with my parents, I love you all to life. Because of my parents and how they raised me, I decided to do something different. So, you know what, David, instead of being a dope dealer, I became a hope dealer with my company, Lift Nation, where we empower women to live inspired, free, and transformed. That's and right. So, in order to do that, David, I got my bachelor's in psychology. I got my master's in social work, but I also got my PhD from the School of Hard Knocks. Because like I said, the top part is that I've been through some things. But it's because of those things, y'all. It's because of those things that now I'm able to be the Harriet Tubman of authenticity, where I am empowering women to break the barriers and shatter those glass ceilings and shed the baggage of past tragedies and traumas in order to live more triumphantly. So that's what I do with Lift Nation. So it is a community for women, for professional women, so that way we can put the fun back in fundamental and start living again. Yeah. That's what we do.
And you have to be able to live. And I love that. And the reason why I had her come on, everybody, as you can see how electric she is, and she just brings that everywhere she goes. And even when I pay attention to her business, and even though I'm not a woman, I love what she does. And I share it because I share what she says. And even though we come from different backgrounds, I want you, Michele, for a little bit, if you don't mind, if you feel comfortable, and I know you do, just share a little bit about your particular story, whatever that you want to share that you feel comfortable, because there are some women out there that are professional, and they got stories too, but they're sometimes, if we can be honest, they're not open to talk about those stories. But I want you to share a little bit, and hopefully what your story could connect to some of these women that are listening, they'll be able to be encouraged to talk about their story and do what they've been purposed to do in this life.
Absolutely. Absolutely, David. Thank you so much for this question because it is so important for us as people, but definitely as women, because of course I'm representing the XX chromosomers. And it's so important for us to tell our story because a lot of times you see the glory, right? You see the yes, Michelle D. Clark and transform. But when we talk about transform, that means I transform from something.
Yeah.
Right, from something to where I am now. Yes, I'm a podcaster. Yes, hostess. Yes, I am a 2 times best-selling author. Yes, I have done TV shows. As a matter of fact, I've been in movies and I'm coaching women. I'm a licensed mental health therapist. I'm also the mindset management coach for professional women. So we have all these accolades, and I can go on and on and on. But that's the glory. Getting behind the glory, behind the story.
Right.
Let's talk about back when I was 14 years old, David. I
Mm.
thought I was invincible, as most 14-year-olds do. I thought I was invincible until I came against a 19-year-old who, let me tell you something. I didn't know what I didn't know. But what I quickly found out is that this gentleman didn't understand the word no, and he stole my virginity. And in that moment, David, what he didn't realize is not only did he steal my virginity, but he stole my self identity.
Mm.
I didn't know who I was anymore because, I always thought that I was going to walk down the aisleway wearing white for real, for real. Again, I
Right.
told you my parents, I was raised in the church. They raised me up and it was always, wait until you get married before you have sex. Wait till you get married before you have kids, all those things. So in my mind, that's what I was going to do.
That's right.
So when that happened, David, when that happened, I no longer felt valuable. I
Mm.
felt dirty and tainted. I felt like trash on to just be used up and thrown out. And because that's the way I felt about myself, that's how I started to allow others to treat me and how I treated myself,
Yeah.
And so I was just spiraling out of control. And those things, the reason why I was behaving in that way and allowing others to treat me that way is because something that we call schemas, which David, I know you know schemas,
Yeah.
schemas, schemas. It's basically
Right.
our mind shortcut system. It's a filing cabinet of how we encode and recall information. And so that way we don't have to learn it all over again for the first time every time we encounter something new. Our
Right.
minds associated with something that we've already had familiarity with.
Yes.
And so
So
if it is something that we connect with and agree with in our minds, so it's like a theme song. Let's think of it like a theme song that's playing in our minds. So when that theme song is playing, think of it maybe like, here's one. I don't know if y'all remember this, a little bit old school, but Aaliyah Rock the Boat. Y'all remember that song?
I know that song.
That's my jam. That's my jam, right? But
Right.
rock the boat,
Right.
work the middle. So if this is your theme song, and then all of a sudden somebody puts in, who do you love? Is it him or me? Now y'all might know that one. That's a little K-pop going on right there. But
No, come
mixes,
on.
right? It mixes, right? It goes in together. But if
Right.
somebody put on some hard rock like dun, 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 that doesn't mix with rock the boat, rock the
Right.
boat. It doesn't mix. So what happens is in our minds, David, and for all you out there, what happens is with our minds is our thoughts are things, and our thoughts are like that theme song. And
Yeah.
if it mix in, then the DJ, ficky, 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 he'll mix it in. If it doesn't, then he throws it out. He won't put the record on. So that's the same thing was
Mhm.
happening to me in my mind. I didn't feel good about who I was. So whenever I encountered somebody who attempted to make me feel better about who I was or who valued me for who I was, because I didn't value me, David, I
Right.
threw it out. I didn't
Yeah.
mix it in. But
Right.
all those undesirables, as my dear friend Deacon Pitts calls it, undesirables,
Mhm.
those characters, basically, this is what happened, y'all. I held on to relationships that I should have let go because they were unhealthy for me. And I sabotaged all the good relationships, again, because of the fact of how I felt about myself.
Yeah.
So that's the gory behind the story. And so
Yeah.
much more that's happened since then. But
Yeah.
it was because of the fact that I knew it was time to transform, do something different. I knew that's not what God had for my life.
Yeah.
So I did get the help. I did get the counseling. Yeah, yep, me, Michelle D. Clark, went through counseling a little bit when I was a teenager, when I went to college, had some more traumas happen on top of that, got married, some more traumas happened on top of that.
Yeah.
had 2 strokes, had stage 2 breast cancer,
Wow. I didn't even know
admitted
that.
stroke. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So
I didn't know
I'm
that.
fast forwarding y'all. I'm giving y'all the shortcut of the shortcut. This is what do you call it? Like the cliff notes of
Yeah.
Michelle Clark. So that's just some of the gory behind the story. But because of God's grace, I have to pull it back to that. But God,
Yeah.
if I didn't tell you, you wouldn't know. I couldn't
No.
talk, David. My whole right side, I couldn't use it. Nothing. Less than 24 hours, it all came back. God healed me up, made me new. So now I can be a mouthpiece because of those tests that I've been through. Now I have
Yeah.
a testimony, and I am that beacon of light for other women to help them through the dark times and help them to understand that yes, you can. If I can do it, you can do it.
Man, that's so much there.
I
Um,
know.
it's so
Hmm.
much. You know, one of the things that I love what you said is that you pushed away the good relationships because you didn't value yourself. And if we can be honest, there's a lot of women and men, but we're going to talk about the women for a moment because this is women's. I want to help the women that you sometimes get into these relationships because you don't value yourself. You don't even look at yourself as a person or a human being, because I've heard this a lot. Or you go into a relationship because you don't value yourself enough. And you do get yourself in these relationships and you know that you shouldn't be in it, but because there's that validation that you're not getting
Hmm.
and that somebody wants to spend that time. So, and even though they're, you know, doing certain things to you, you're feeling like, well, I guess I'm good enough for that person. I'm good enough, even though they're saying these things to me, they're saying these negative things to me. I don't think of myself too much, which I should, but because they're giving me that attention, I'm going to do that. From what you just heard from Michelle, is that transformation is so vitally important for your existence, for your future. You got to be able to recognize it. It's hard. Am I right, Michelle? It's hard to see that. Can you talk about why is it so hard for some women? And we're gonna get to the professional piece, but I want to talk about the person, the woman that might be dealing with this. What would you say to someone that is in that place and they're beautiful black women or just beautiful women in general, but they don't value themselves? What would you say to somebody that came to you, Michelle, and say, I understand that's great, but I still don't value myself. I don't see that value that you're talking about. What would you say to them?
Yeah. And so the first thing I want to say is that might be like, how does that even relate, Michelle? I would say to stop and breathe.
Mm,
Stop and breathe. And I'm talking about breathing from the diaphragm, like taking in a deep breath. Just
yeah,
because a lot of times, David, we don't even recognize that we're unhealed because we just running. We're just running
yeah,
and running and going no place fast.
right,
So just stop, pause, breathe. And what else that does is it oxygenates the brain so we can think more clearly.
yeah,
Then what I would do is make a list. Make a list of those people who you know for real love you and care about you. Because a lot of time, David, what happens is when we get into relationships that are toxic,
yeah,
the person attempts to, if not is successful at cutting us off, cutting
yeah.
the women off from their life support,
Mm, talk about it. Talk
and
about it.
then attaching them to themselves. So that way the woman will think that that person is the only life support they have.
Yeah.
And if they're cut off from that person, they will die.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to make that list of the people. And it doesn't matter how long you've been away from them. If you know that you know, that you know that you know that they loved you at one point in time and they still have your best interest at mind, even if you haven't talked to them in weeks, months, years, you know who those people are. Make
Right.
that list. even if it's just a mental list. Hear my words while I'm saying this, even if it's just a mental list, because sometimes your life is in the balance if you leave clues that you're going to leave.
Yeah. That's good.
So make that mental list. And then when you are isolated off by yourself, away from the toxic person or persons, make those calls, send out those SOS signals.
That's right. That's
Make
so
those SOS signals. I am for real, because if somebody's in a relationship as toxic as some of the relationship I've been in, where I literally wrote in a journal and hid it in a box in the attic, that way, if somebody would have found my body and then would have found my place, gone through boxes, I put in there who I thought would kill me. When I was in those relationships, I am dead serious. And now this, David, this is an exclusive. I have not told anybody this.
No, I'm taking what you're saying at face value. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Now, there is one person that I spoke with about this particular part, but it wasn't on air anywhere. This is an exclusive, y'all.
Okay. Please hope y'all taking notes.
Yeah. It is that serious. And it doesn't matter. Now, when I'm talking to you all, it doesn't matter what walk of life you are. It doesn't matter if you were in jail or in Yale.
Right. Right.
Self-esteem affects us all.
Yes, it does.
And when we find ourselves behind the 8 ball, we can find ourselves in desperate times, clinging and grasping to folks who have no business being in our life.
Yeah.
And we have to do these simple things. We have to stop, pause, breathe. Think about who those people are in our lives that really love us and care about us and would help us if we send out an SOS signal. And then we have to start the inner work, because here's the deal, y'all. Even if we send out that SOS signal,
I love
and
that.
they are there with that life support, with that life raft, with that lifesaver, and they throw it out to us, if we still sitting there flailing, and sometimes flailing does not look like panicking, it looks like panicking.
Yeah.
Still believing that, falling back in the old past, still believing that we don't deserve it. We don't deserve the life raft. We don't deserve the buoy. We don't deserve the lifesaver. And so we see it, but we don't even reach for it because we think we deserve the less than. So now we have to start doing the inner work, so that way, when that buoy, that life raft, that lifesaver comes to us, that we have the fortitude. And even if we borrow somebody else's belief, that we believe that we deserve it, and we fight for our lives, and we go for it. So that inner work could look like counseling, therapy, talking to an elder at the church, talking to an elder in your family, reading, personal development. So sometimes the people that may save you may not be the people that's alive right now. You can tap into somebody like Jim Rohn, like Les Brown, like Lisa Nichols, all these people who are instrumental, Cheryl Wood. You can tap into these people.
Yeah.
And they can be your lifeline, because it starts here.
Yes, it does in the mind. It does.
Start here. Yeah.
I love what you said, and you said so much, but when you said lifeboat, I thought that was so powerful. Let me ask you all, do you have a lifeboat? Do you have these things in places? Did you write this down? Because this podcast, Better Podcast, it's not a regular podcast. This is a podcast where you get information, you get something that you can take home. And I really took this lifeboat. And another thing is, you got to have a lifesaver, and she's giving you this. She's giving you these tools. And we're going to get into the professional area, but I really wanted to talk to that person, that woman that is struggling, right? We're going to get to the entrepreneurship in just a moment, but I want to talk to that person, because before you can get it in a professional state, you got to get in a good mindset state, right? Because you can't get all these great things and have all this money, and that's great. But if you're not happy with yourself, if you're not content with yourself, how can the money really make you happy? It's temporary happiness. So what she's saying when she's talking about putting the fun in fundamentals, and she's just shared her story is, I beat all of these odds. And if I beat all of these odds, you can do it too. So then my next question is, what encouraged you? And I think you kind of said it already, but if you can go in a little bit more detail, What encouraged you to start this business? What was that thing that just said, I need to start this for women? Like, I want to hear that. And I think we want to
Well,
hear that as well.
yes, yes. And, and it was a progression. So I
Okay.
started with Lift Life Coaching Solutions, which I still have, Lift Life Coaching Solutions LLC. So I coach women. And then I also have Lift Life Counseling Solutions. That's through the therapeutic. I do virtual therapy on a platform. So that's another avenue. Now, this, when I started Lift Nation, y'all, because we, as professional women, we need to have an outlet. We need to have an outlet, somewhere we can let our hair down, be the authentic us, love on each other for who we are and whose we are,
Yes.
lift each other up. And LIFT is an acronym: living inspired, free, and transformed. And lift each other up, help each other succeed and win, and also celebrate when each other succeeds and wins. This is that community. It's a virtual platform where we get together. We're actually having our first orientation. We're having our orientation this Saturday. As a matter of fact, I put it in the back chat. If you can pull it, I don't know if you can, David, or not, but pull it
Okay,
over.
I'm gonna look.
Yep.
Yes.
So it is our Lift Nation Synergy community. Now, synergy, if you all know synergy, that's basically when we have one or more, we have more, excuse me, two or more people who gather. Now, yes, you have energy, I have energy, but when we get together and we collide, it is synergy. So it's the synergy where basically the whole is greater than the sum total of the parts by themselves. So that's what we do. We get together and we're going to have a mini mindset training, because again, I am the mindset management coach for professional women, and it all starts here. So freedom doesn't start outside of here. Freedom starts inside of here. Because even if you were a slave, if we want to talk about slavery, even if you were a slave, if they set you free, but you're still a slave in here, you're still not free. So you get to experience freedom and live it more abundantly when we help with those mini mindset trainings. And then, of course, we're going to have fun activities. And if you all know me, you either networking or you're not working. So we're definitely going to have some networking happening. If you got a chance to partake of what Lift Nation and New Innovations, we came together as a collaboration. We collided and had a colossal collaboration last Saturday with Women Inspiring Women International inaugural celebration, that you understand how we deliver information, how we party, how we network. So we're going to have networking opportunities again this Saturday. Now, this Saturday is our orientation for Lift Nation Synergy Community. Now, you have to be a member. You have to be a member in order to be a part of this. So I can't give it a bit.ly. It's exclusive. But if you want to learn how, you can get that. And actually, let me put it here. You have info at micheledclark.com. You can hit me up there, as well as if you want to break bread with me so we can have a brief conversation exploration, 20 minutes. I want to give that to you all for free. So my gift is, if you go to bit.ly/meet with Michele, and that's Michele with one L because you don't need two and one does the same. Meet me at bit.ly/meet with Michele. And I want to
Yes.
give you a free conversation exploration. One, to see if I can help you as a mindset management coach. And then two, if you're interested in our Lift Nation Synergy community and you want
Come
to
on.
break through with other women, and let me give you all something. We are putting together a hub, a resource hub, where each woman who is a part of the Lift Nation Synergy community will have the opportunity to list her goods, her services, her products, her business. So that way, other people, we want to give you visibility, because it doesn't matter if you're a great company. If nobody knows about you, you're just going to be the best kept secret. So we want to give you visibility. There are other perks that go along with that, but you're going to have to hit me up. Check me out. Get that free gift that I'm offering you right now with bit.ly/meet with Michele. And again, that's Michele, one L Michele. You don't need two, and one does the same. I put that in the back as well, if you can put that up, David. But yes, see me there. But that's what we do with Lift Nation. I came up with Lift Nation because as professional women, we're pulled in all different directions. It's a lot of things that's on our plate. And we need time for us, time to thrive so that we can get back and drive. So if you
That's right.
want to, yeah, you have to fuel up. You have to stop and fuel up. You can't just keep running, 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 and say, oh, I'm too busy to get gas. What's going to happen? You're going to run out of gas and you're going to crash. So to keep that from happening, we meet once a month on Saturdays. It's only once per Saturday. It's the third Saturday of the month. That's our Lift Nation Synergy community. But in addition to that, we have other events just like we had last week where Lift Nation sponsors, and for community members it's either low to no cost, because that's one of the perks that you have with being a part of the community. So again, if you say to yourself, I desire freedom, I deserve freedom, and I
That's
deserve
right.
to live a life and live it more abundantly, I want that freedom, then guess what? And I want to put the fun back in fundamentals. Fundamentals is broken up fundamentals. In some languages, "the" means "of." So fun of mentals, you all. So if you want to put the fun back in your mind, and then because what happens here then happens out here. If that's something that you want, then that's what you want. That's what you want to be a part of Lift Nation, our synergy community.
Now, do y'all see why I had her to come on the podcast? Do y'all see the synergy? Do you see the fun? Do you see the energy? And I just put it all in the chat here, and I'm telling people, please, as we're talking, register for this. Click on the link. Do not miss this. I'm telling you, because she just had a wonderful virtual conference. Was it last weekend? Am I correct?
Yep, on Saturday.
Wonderful.
Yep, the 11th.
Saturday. I'm telling you, I'm a guy and I got a lot out of it. I'm just keeping it real. It was wonderful, and I'm not even exaggerating, because the body of information that was there, the community that was there, the free will. It was 4 women, but there was a couple guys, including myself, and I was so glad to be a part of it. So you don't want to miss this. You definitely don't want to miss this. Because we got a few more minutes, but I want to ask you these few questions, and I thank you for making that time and being able to. Because I believe there are some of my members that are going to be able. They're going to be registered. I believe they're going to be able to do that. Not only is she a professional woman and putting fun and fundamentals, she is also a mom, and this is where I want to get to for the next 15, 20 minutes. Now, if you feel comfortable, and I always ask that, I'll do that disclaimer, but I don't think she is ashamed of her child or nothing, because that is her blessing. You have, if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to try to get this right. You have a son, am I correct?
I have a son and a daughter.
You have a daughter. See, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that. So we got a professional mama on here, and that's why one of the reasons why I wanted to bring on, if you could just talk a little bit about you don't have to go into much information if you don't want, but talk about you being a mom, but also how do you balance home life and professional life? Because you do it all, as you already said, and you a mama with 2 kids.
Right, mama,
You got 2 jobs. Michelle got 3, 4 jobs.
Right, 15 jobs.
How do you balance all of that? Because a lot of women want to know from a professional woman as yourself, how do you balance the home life? Because you're a counselor, you're a mom, you're a doctor sometimes. You're doing all of this, but then you go to the office. You're doing all this, and you're helping all these phenomenal women. How do you balance that?
So let me let y'all in on a secret. This is, what do they call that? Spoiler alert, y'all. You don't balance. You
Ooh.
integrate.
Ooh. Ow. I gotta write that down.
You don't balance. You integrate.
Wow.
So let me here's a really good example. So I want to give a shout out to Mr. Shine Right East, because he had the most fabulous business to business and business to brand mindset meeting back last August at Myrtle Beach, and it was phenomenal.
Wow.
Now, it was phenomenal. And so I
Wow.
bring that up because when we had that, my daughter and my son went with me.
Awesome.
They went with me. And because my son has special needs, my son has cerebral palsy, I brought his caregiver with us as well. Because that weekend master mindset came on the weekend that I had the kids. So, it wasn't like, oh, my ex-husband had the kids. No, no, no. I had the kids. So I had to care for the kids. And instead of them going somewhere else, they came with me.
That's
And
awesome.
so they're there with me. And my daughter goes with me a lot of different places. And my son, people hear about him. Now, I don't take him out since COVID. So he doesn't get to travel with me a lot on other local type things. But
Right.
that one, because it was overnights, they went with me. And I also had 3 of her friends to come with too. So, and one of the friends' mama. So here's the deal. So it was a big, so my point is that When we have different things, we first of all, we have to sit down and talk, have a conversation with our kids. So I had a conversation with my daughter. She's 15. My son just turned 18, who has cerebral palsy. But my daughter I have conversations with her all the time, and I tell her what's going on. She's been on my podcast. Yes, I have a podcast on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn, broadcast simultaneously, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're doing our Win in 10 minutes or less fun of mental moments. And on Tuesdays, we have our Tuesday Talks with Miss Clark, LMSW, at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And she's been on my show. She gave a bird's eye view to parents who have teenagers. I interviewed her.
Mm.
So I integrate her in the things that I do.
Yeah.
That's the key. And here's the other thing, y'all. So let me give you another bird's eye view, or I should say it's an inside tip. So not only am I a licensed mental health therapist, also the mindset management coach for professional women, but also I am trained. I am a trainer of parents in evidence-based practice, PMTO, which is parent management training, the Oregon model, and PTC, which is parenting through change. So I actually coach parents on how to become better parents. And it's because of that. I started, I think my daughter's around 4 years old when I started my certification with that.
Mm.
So as a trainee, becoming a trainer, I utilized a lot of those practices on my daughter, who was experiencing some behavioral challenges, especially when she turned 6 when we were going through our divorce. It's difficult, not just on us as a relationship, those who are in the marriage, but also
Yeah.
those who are in the marriage as kids. And she was having a hard time behaviorally. And I was able to utilize those strategies to help her, to support her. And then, of course, I got her therapy. I got her counseling because, again, I'm
Say
mama.
it again. Say it again. Say it again. You say you got her
I'm
therapy.
mama. I'm mama. I can't be her therapist. So I had
Mm.
to, because I'm not objective, I'm subjective because I'm her mother. So
Right.
yes, I can utilize some of the therapeutic strategies, but when it comes time for her to be able to, and it was TFCBT, which I'm also trauma trained. TFCBT is trauma focused cognitive behavioral therapy. So I got her in services so that way she can help to unpack the traumas that she was experiencing, as well as myself, y'all. Because
That's
when
right.
a child goes through that, the parent goes through it too. And we
Mm-hmm.
unpack those, and now we're able to call it what it is. Because in order to tame it, you have to name it. In
That's so
order to
good.
heal,
Say that again. Say that again.
yes, in order to tame it, you have to name it. And in
Yeah.
order to heal, you have to reveal.
Yeah. That's so good. That's so
Yes.
good.
So those are so there is no balance, y'all. Sorry, spoil it, no balance. It is integration where you literally have to have the conversation with them and let them know these are the times where I'm going to spend with you. And she knows we have mommy daughter time. I spend time
Yeah.
with baby boy. We have mommy baby boy time. Now, baby boy don't really, he's hilarious. Listen, he's like, listen, I just want my YouTube. And sometimes I try to sing along with him. He be like, and then there's times where I say, okay, baby boy, come on in the
Yeah.
room with everybody else. You can't be cooped up in your room. Come on, and we all gonna watch a movie together. We're gonna watch
That's
this
beautiful.
together. So there's times that we spend together. We have that we call positive involvement. Have
Yes. Right.
positive involvement, so that way when I do lock myself away in my office, then they know this is mommy's time that she has to do her business.
That's
But
right.
they know that they're going to have their own time. And I integrate them with the business so that way they don't resent the business. My
Mm.
daughter even told me that I said, well, what do you want to do? Because right now I'm about to brag on my daughter. Yes, child. She is not only enrolled in one of the premier schools here in Michigan, but she also is doing a dual enrollment at Mike Ilitch School of Business at
Awesome.
Wayne State College.
Wow.
And she's only a sophomore. And so she's
Beautiful.
getting her business. By the time she graduates from high school, she'll at least have her associates and she'll finish up with her business degree. She's also taking Chinese. I asked her, what do you want to do? She says, Mommy, I want to work for you. I said, perfect. And I need you to really take Chinese seriously because you're going to run my international Chinese division when we expand out with Lift Nation, because this is a global movement, y'all. Global
Mm-hmm.
movement. So yes, I'll be brushing up on my Chinese as well. And me and my daughter, we always say to each other, "Wo I need." She says that to me, and I say, "Wo ya I need." And wo I need is I love you, and wo ya I need is I love you too. So yeah, so I'm working on that as well as Spanish. you know.
See, I think that's the thing that I really. This is why I brought her here. If I could be serious for a moment, because in this time, you need women like this to get you out of your rut.
Let's go.
I'm going to say that again. Sometimes God will put people like this in your place to get you out of your stuck place so that you can get unstuck. Because a lot of you mothers that you got this business idea, you got these great ideas, but you feel like, how can I get this done when I got my children over here and I got to do this and I got to do that? She's a perfect example of who you're going to be, not if, when. And I'm telling you, the Lift Nation is going to help you become that professional woman that you want to be and celebrate you at the same time. Because sometimes we try to look at big wins as wins, and those were great, but there are small wins. She talked about, and she didn't say this, but I took what I heard. She took a lot of these small wins and started to build. She started somewhere, but the thing is, she started. You just all have to start. You just got to start wherever you are. Just start. That's how I started mine. I didn't have all the bells and whistles, but I had not more than just a dream. Dream is good. There's nothing wrong with dreaming, but I had to put some focus. I had to put some skin in the game. Whatever analogy that you want to use, whatever metaphor that you want to use, that's what I had to do. And I kept building it. But when I'm talking to you wonderful women, you see that this is possible. You heard all the things that she has been through. Yeah, I hear what I'm saying. Like, it's more than just, oh, that sounds nice. No, look at your own life. Look at your own particular life. And my uncle, my uncle Bishop, he says it's a process. Yes, sir. It's a process. It's always going to be a process, because she says she's not even done. Hear me. You heard what she just said. She's not even done because she sees that there's another level. And I'm going to say this to you, young women. There's another level in you. You don't have to take what you've been given. And you don't have to take it anymore. You don't have to take the abuse. You don't have to take somebody tearing you down. You don't have to take what's been given to you, because there's more and there's better for you. So I want to make sure I don't get too happy, but I love what you said. So my next question is to you, and I love where we're going. We're almost done. Who is your greatest motivation and why?
Yep. And before I get to that question, I want to take some step back 2.5 seconds, because you said something that was really powerful, and I want to paraphrase that so that people really can digest this.
Hmm?
You don't have to be better to start, but you have to start to be better.
Oh my God. Ooh, that's heavy. I love it.
So no matter where you are, that's your starting point. Just get started. Don't worry about what you don't have, who you don't have, what degrees you might not have, or extra initials behind it. You might have a few and want some more. None of that matters wherever you are. Whether it was jail or Yale, whether you are, a NEO or CEO, it doesn't matter where you are.
That's
Get
right.
started with living your dream. Get started right now with living out your dream. Because the last thing you want is, when you are taking that last breath, I would rather have a sigh of, I'm so glad I did, than I wish I would have.
Oh, you just hit something to me. Oh my God. You got me thinking so much right now. I'm sorry. I know we're supposed to do this next question, but if I can, this is not even spiritual. This is just conscious thinking. I told God yesterday and today, I don't want to die in vain. I want to do your work. I want to do your work. And what she said, you just got to go ahead and do it. Just do it. You got this. Look, I'm bringing these incredible women on this month for a reason. I just had Coach Tyler last week. I got Coach Michele, and I got some more. I got a principal coming from my hometowns. Yeah, I'm not even going to tell you who that is until she comes on. I'm bringing these women for a particular reason, and we're almost done. Give me a few more minutes, everybody. I hope that you are sharing this. But this is why I'm bringing these phenomenal women on, because it's not just, yes, it's Women's History, right, month, But these women are building not just history, they're building legacy. They're building a legacy, and I want you to be a part of this legacy. Maybe it's not something I'm saying, but you see this woman, this Black queen here, this mama, this professional woman that she's breathing out. Coach Ty, she's a phenomenal woman. I got a phenomenal woman coming next week, another phenomenal woman that's coming next week. We wouldn't be able to have what we have if we didn't have phenomenal women. You have phenomenal nieces, we have phenomenal daughters, you have phenomenal mothers, grandmothers, aunts. You got to share this with somebody. So I'm going to digress. We're going to go back to the question. Who is your motivation and why the show?
Yes, and you know what? God does not give us a vision without giving us the provision to see it manifest. And
Yeah.
so I'm so excited that God placed people in my life. I have to. I'd be remiss not to give a warm shout out, wholehearted shout out to my parents, my mother and father, who are at the helm, and they are still alive today, y'all. They're in the 80s. I know my mom be like, "Child, let me tell her my age," but but no, she wouldn't, because she understands with age should come at least wisdom, and with my parents, it did, and they built the foundation. They built the foundation. So even when I went wayward, y'all, as my mom calls it, a leaf blowing in the wind, because of the fact that I still had an anchor, I had that foundation, I was able to find my way back. So it's just like the first thing that came to my mind was, the breadcrumbs, but it's something stronger than that, because the breadcrumbs is not something that's attached to you. It's something that you see, and it's markers. No, I'm talking about an anchor that even when I veered off the pathway, because that anchor was tied to me, I could do like this and find my way back. Find my way back. If we're talking about a leaf blowing in the wind, I still was attached to the branch. I was swaying in the wind, but I was still attached to the limb that was attached to the branch that was attached to the tree and the tree trunk. And because of that, I was able to find my way back and get to where you see me today. So I have to give a shout out to my parents. And then next, I would say my older sister, because she paved the way. I'm telling you, if you talk about somebody who's destined for greatness, Dr. Clark, Dr. Cheryl Clark, she set the bar high. And as a matter of fact, both she and I, when she graduated from high school, I was in junior high. We both graduated the same year. She graduated valedictorian. I graduated valedictorian.
Beautiful.
And
Beautiful.
my brother, my sister, and let me talk about. So my brother, we were just like this. He helped me when I was in high school. He was my best friend when I was in high school. People thought we were twins.
Yeah.
And my sister, who literally saved my life. Literally. When I talked about those 2 strokes, the
Yeah.
second stroke, she was the one who found me on the floor.
My God.
And if she had not been there, my kids were not due to come back to me till that Wednesday. It happened, the second stroke. The first one happened on a Saturday, the second one happened on a Monday. On that Monday, they wouldn't have come back to me till Wednesday. And they wouldn't even come back. They would have been wondering why I didn't pick them up if she hadn't been there and found me moments after I had fallen and was unconscious, in and out of consciousness. So I literally thank God and thank my life to my sister
Yeah.
as the reason why I'm still here today. So those are the people who are around me, and the people who have built the foundation, and the people who drive me are my
Yeah.
children. They're my
Yeah.
children. My
Yeah. You
children
did.
are the ones who. So I was to call them the vehicle that started it. My parents and my nuclear family, and my children are the fuel that makes it go.
That's good. That's good. And I love that. And I think because I'm a family restoration specialist and I work with families, and what you just said, I have to agree. My parents have been my foundation. My father's gone to be with the Lord, and so was my sister. But my sister was my second mama. And I'll say it really quick, and we're almost done. And thank you guys for hanging out with us and share this. And we're almost done. Just a few more minutes. And how they pushed me, and how they're still pushing me, even though they're no longer here. They're still pushing me, and I got their pictures in my office here. So every time that I feel like I can't go, I look at my father's picture with those big old brown eyes, and I look at my sister's with her brown eyes too, because she reminded me of my father so much. They push him, and my mother's still alive. And her sweet self, she always has a word to encourage me, because I call her every day. I call her like 2 times a day. And some people might feel that's too much, but me and my mother's relationship are like this. I'm her twin. And we just have that connection. So I just want to encourage you all, no matter how old you are, and if your parents are still alive and you have a great relationship with your siblings or other family members, especially your children, it's a beautiful thing. It's a blessed thing to have, because everybody don't have that.
That's right.
So if you have that, cherish your parents, if they're still here, even if you don't get along with them. I don't want to go off on a tangent. Even if you don't get along, they're still alive and you have an opportunity to make that right. Please hear me close. Hear me clear.
Right.
Make this right. So we got one more thing, because I'm going to run out of time. And I love this conversation. I might have to have you back. We might have to do a little forum with some other things I'm just thinking about. But what advice could you give to a struggling professional woman in their business? They're saying, Michele, I love what you're doing. I'm coming Saturday. I'm about to be a part of Lift Nation. I'm struggling. I got this idea and I've been in this business for however long, but I'm struggling. I'm struggling in my business. What would you say to them?
Yep. I will give them what I call my 3Ds. So 3D, first of all, dream. And obviously, if you're starting a business, or if you're thinking about starting a business, you have a dream. There's something that you've been dreaming about. There's something that you want to do to impact either yourself, your family, others, but you have a dream. So remember what that was when you got started. The struggles are going to come, but remember that dream.
That's right.
And then number 2, decide. Well, let me take back to number 1, dream and dream bigger, right? So whatever your dream is, dream that and then dream bigger. Then number 2 is decide. Make a decision, decide that you are going to go for it. Because here's the deal, y'all. If we're sitting on the fence, let me tell you a quick little story. There's 3 birds sitting on the wire. 2 decide to fly off. How many is left on the wire? Most folks will say 1.
Right.
That is not true. All
Right.
3 birds are still on the wire, because just because they made the decision didn't mean that they flew off.
Right.
So
That's good.
make the decision, and make the decision to take action.
That's right.
Because if you're talking about the power of manifestation, if you wishy-washy and you don't know what you want, guess what? Then God don't know what to give you.
That's it. That's it.
Make it
That
plain. Make the decision and act. Know what you want. Dream it. Know what you want. Make that decision, and then discipline. Discipline is the 3rd D. And that means that yes, there's going to be some times that we're going to choose to not do this and choose not to do that. We're going to prioritize. We have to have
right.
that discipline. See, motivation, inspiration comes and goes. So
That's
when
right.
motivation taps out, it's discipline that taps in and takes over to help you to get to where you need to go.
That's right.
So dream and dream big, decide and decide to take that action, and then discipline to see whatever it is that dream was you had manifest. That's what I would tell a woman
I love
who
that.
was struggling with
I'm
that.
telling you, this is all fire today. I don't know. I don't know if y'all feel your skin and got a little burnt, but it's all fire tonight. She's giving you that fire tonight, and we're going to close here. But I want you again, just for 1 minute, and we're going to close. How can we get in contact with you? Because I feel like if some people have been lifted up, but I want people to know, how can they get in contact with you even tonight and this weekend, what you're doing. Just, you got the floor.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you again so much, David, for inviting me on this podcast. And thank you all so much, all of us viewers out there. Thank you so much. And congratulations for investing yourself, investing time in yourself. And so, yes, you can reach me. I'm on all social media platforms. I mostly reside on Facebook and LinkedIn, Michele D. Clark. And again, that's MicheleDClark. That's 1 L in Michele, because you don't need 2 and 1 does the same. So you can reach me there. You can also reach me at info@micheledclark.com. Again, MicheleDClark.com. 1 L Michele, you don't need 2 and 1 does the same. You can also connect with me if you like to say, you know, Michele, I am ready. I'm ready to either become a Coach E and I want to be a part of Lift Nation, the Synergy community, either or both. Then all you have to do is go to bit.ly/meet with Michele. And again, that's one L in Michele. And that is your free 20-minute conversation and exploration with me. So that way it's not whether or not we're not going to put together, you know, your grand strategy at that point. It's just going to be, okay, are we compatible? Do we work together?
That's good.
Because I can
Yeah.
help you. That's not a question. I can help you. But is it because I have to choose you and you have to choose me? So that's what we're going to break bread during that session. And then I'm going to give you a recommendation, and then we're going to see if we're going to move forward in alignment, or if I'm going to refer you to someone else. Because that's real talk, you all. That's real talk. So that's what you're going to expect when you meet with me. Free conversation and exploration, FREE. The only thing it's going to cost you is your time to invest in you.
Lovely, lovely. So with this, we're going to close this wonderful podcast tonight. Thank you so much for joining me and my friend Michele D. Clark. You got to make sure you put that D. Clark in there. But thank you for just being with us on Better Podcast. Listen, I need you to share this on your page, share it with your family, share it with your friends. I will be back on next week for another Better Podcast with another powerful woman for this particular month. You do not, and I mean you do not want to miss it. Guys, thank you so much. God bless, and I'll see you on next week.